Do you ever wish someone would draw you a map and give you the directions to the career of your dreams? If so, consider this podcast your GPS to a career where you feel strong, fulfilled, and passionate about your work, day in and day out. On this show, I am sharing the tools to help you advocate for your strengths, discover your passions, and learn from folks who transformed their careers for the better. My name is Joyel Crawford, your fairy god mentor, and with my 18 years of experience in HR at a Fortune 50 company and 20 years of coaching and mentoring top leaders, I am thrilled to be your guide on this career journey. Let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Career View Mirror, where we reflect on moments that shape our careers so that you can move forward with clarity and confidence. I'm your host, Joyel Crawford, and today's conversation is one I think a lot of leaders, managers, and honestly, human beings need right now. We're talking about the Enneagram, not a personality trend, but a powerful tool for leadership, communication, and decision making in the workplace. Joining me today is Karl Hebenstreit, author, leadership expert, and someone who helps organizations actually function better by understanding how people are wired. Welcome, Karl. Welcome to Career View Mirror.
Thank you so much, Joyel. It's such a pleasure to be here. I've been so looking forward to this.
Oh my gosh. And for the first time in Career View Mirror history, we have synchronized our outfits for wardrobe. And I must say, we look pretty fabulous.
We do. A lot of effort and thought went into this. So I'm glad it came off as well as it did.
Yes. And we've been working on this for several months now because we were supposed to be in last season's roundup and schedules just started lifing. And so I'm so glad that we're able to see each other now.
This is the right time. It's the right time. The universe has said it's the right time. Yes.
Divine timing. Exactly. So a lot of people have heard about Enneagrams, but not everyone understands like how it shows up at work. And for someone hearing this for the first time, like, how do you explain how the Enneagram how do you explain it in a way that feels practical, not just personal, but like professional?
Yeah, so a lot of people think of the Enneagram, as you said, as a personality type system, which it is. And there are some books about it, especially the earlier books that talk about it as a personality type system from Claudio Naranjo. And the actual thing that you want to talk about it is it's not necessarily personality per se. It's more about the motivation. So yes, motivation is part of your personality, but if this isn't describing the behaviors, this is describing the motivation behind the behaviors, which is what differentiates it from most of the other systems like Myers-Briggs and DISC and Hogan and Leadership Circle Profile and all those. Yes, exactly. So it's a system, and it really is an entire system because it helps to identify each of the 9 core motivations that human beings have. And we each subscribe to one of these for our entire lives, and it influences how we perceive the world and how we interact in the world because it has stories. Each one of these types, these core motivations, these perceptions, perspectives is a lens through which we view the world, and it tells a story that how we're interpreting the world and showing up in it based on that story. And the whole point is to realize that we don't have the full story with just our own one lens. There are 8 other lenses, and our colleagues, our bosses, our customers, our friends are most probably viewing the world through one of those other 8 lenses, which is also correct. None of them is correct or incorrect. They are all correct. Every single one of them is correct. And if we just view the world through our own lens, we are missing out. We're not getting the full story. We're not getting the full truth. And the whole point of it is to understand why this story has worked for us and see how it may not be working for us forever and how we can integrate those other 8 motivations and perspectives. When we are integrating them, they're not integrating them as a motivation. It's more as a perspective or a lens, which we then use to see the real world.
Nice. I like that term lens because it's just literally like how we can view it. like these different prescriptions. And so this is helpful to see it in different ways. Okay.
And we can change them. We can change it just like a frame, like a glass, an eyeglass frame or an eyeglass lens. If we want to, look into the distance, we put a certain set of lenses on for the distance. If we're reading something up close, we may need a different set of lenses to read up close. So, and we can take one pair off and put another pair on. So that's exactly what you can do with it.
Nice. I love this. Now I want to connect this to your book, The How and Why of Taking Care of Business with the Enneagram.
Yeah.
What's one core takeaway from that book that leaders can apply immediately to improve how they manage or communicate?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we are all pretty much under the influence of the golden rule. We've been taught the golden rule throughout our entire lives. It's really reinforced through schools, religion, society. Even Marriott has ads about the golden rule, right? We abide by the golden rule. We'll treat you the way that we want to be treated. That would work absolutely perfectly if everyone were the same.
Yes.
And everyone's not the same.
No, we are not.
Spoiler alert, right? Everyone's not the same.
Totally not.
Everyone were the same. And it would be easier and boring because we know exactly what each person's going through, where they're coming from, what their motivation is, what their likes and dislikes are. Everyone would have exactly the same things. We would be boring robots, probably. So we need to let go of that. So when leaders are really focusing through the lens of the golden rule, they're thinking that, well, all of my direct reports and even my boss or my customers or whatever, they are all needing and looking at the world through the same lens that I am. So they're going to want the same things I do. They're going to be motivated by the same things I am. No problem. I'm going to treat them the way I want to be treated. So there we go. And then, of course, we start alienating people. Misunderstandings happen. People are not aligned. So there's just confusion and hurt feelings, and people quit, and people get demotivated, stressed out. All bad things happen.
Yes.
So the biggest takeaway again from that book is probably to say, let's understand what our golden rule is and realize that not the rest of the world doesn't look through that same lens. How can we adopt some of the other lenses, and how can we figure out our key stakeholders, our direct reports, what's important for them? What are their motivations? What are their needs? And of course, that needs to happen through communication.
Yes.
Right? We need to have those one-on-ones. They need to have those conversations. They need to check back in again and validate their understandings. Explicit expectations need to be from both parts. And that's when we figure out, okay, great. Now I understand and have empathy for this new lens, which makes sense. I never thought about things that way. Let me integrate that into my worldview and expand it. So now that's the biggest takeaway is getting away from the golden rule into more of the platinum rule of treating others the way they want to be treated according to what their needs and motivations are. And ultimately going to the rhodium rule, which is let's integrate this and make our worldview even more robust and expansive and inclusive.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard of the rhodium rule, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Like the upgrade of the metals. Yes, I love it.
Yes, exactly. Now, I think all of this doesn't make sense anymore because gold is so expensive.
Right.
But yeah, let's go with it. Let's go with it.
I love it. I love it. Now, you also dropped a little hint about your other book, Explicit Expectations, in your explanation for the first book, which I love the concept because so many workplace issues come down to what's not being said.
Right.
So
Exactly.
why do you think leaders struggle so much with setting clear expectations? And what's the cost of not doing that?
So I think it goes back to the golden rule with that, because they feel like, oh, if this is my expectation, then that should be their expectation too. Why wouldn't it not be their expectation, right? They think things the way that I think about things. So I don't have to say it. They should know it. They're in that job for a reason. I hired them for a reason, and they should know these things. Almost, I don't want to say that it's a test, but it's part of it is the not understanding about the empathy for a different perspective and how they may not get to that same conclusion that you have based on the fact that they don't have the same experiences or education or insights that you do, right? And part of it could be, oh, I hired this person, let's test them and see if they figure it out on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people feel, we can't read people's minds, but
Right.
they feel like they know what the other person needs or wants because they know what's best for them. So they figure that that's what they're going to want. And sometimes we could even attribute it to the fact that people, and this holds more true for introverts. It can hold true for extroverts if they're as well, but introverts sometimes feel like they've said what they wanted to expect from others because they've thought about it in their minds.
Right. And they've had this conversation.
Right, in their minds. And they feel like, oh, it's been said, they get it. But that conversation was never outwardly spoken.
Right.
So that could be a challenge as well. And another challenge could be sometimes we have extroverts that speak about many different things, many different ideas, never landing on, and this is the action that needs to be taken, right?
Yeah.
So there could be lots of brainstorming, and two things could happen. Either so much stuff is out there that nobody knows what to do, or they start doing everything thinking that everything is in action when it was just a brainstorm.
Right.
So all these misunderstandings can happen if you're not explicit about what your expectation is and land on, this is actionable. This is what we need to take action on. And this is my expectation about when it's going to be. We're going to have to reprioritize something else because that's another challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else becomes a priority. Everything's a priority. So this other thing becomes a priority. And this is also a priority. And nothing else drops off that priority list. So as you said, what are some of the challenges of that or the repercussions of that is confusion.
Yeah.
You're all about clarity. I know that.
Yeah.
So there's no clarity. So no one knows what to do. And the people who are people pleasers are running out trying to do everything, burning themselves out and not doing anything correctly or according to expectations, because some of those were not even expectations. So it's really just, let's take a pause. Let's figure out clearly and explicitly what is the expectation? What is the actionable item? What do you need from me? And then what do I need from you? Because it's a two-way street. So both of those expectations need to be set and understood. Mm-hmm. And even like, is this even in alignment with the boss's expectations? Like the boss's expectations.
Right. Is it even on target for what we want the organization? Yeah.
So this lack of clarity could lead to burnout. It could lead to wrong things being prioritized. It could be mistakes. It could be just spinning wheels, basically.
Yeah. And that's detracting from the productivity, which
exactly,
the bottom line needs to be the main focus. And so if we're not as productive, we're not making as much money. So
exactly.
No, I love this. I love all of this. So there's one other book that that you've written already, which is, I want to bring in the book, Nina and the Really, Really Tough Decision. What inspired you to write about decision-making in this way? And what does it teach us about how people navigate pressure or uncertainty at work?
So I've been doing, all of my work is with executives and leaders and organizations. And obviously they're not 10 years old anymore, right? They've made a lot, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've learned a lot of lessons through the years.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great if we knew about this way in advance and really had this understanding and built our emotional intelligence at an even earlier age rather than having to relearn and unlearn things?
Yes.
So I was inspired by a friend of mine who co-wrote a book with his mother. Aww. And I immediately thought, wow, you're getting in and really teaching children and changing the world from at that earlier point, which is going to make a huge difference in the future. I'm trying to change the world at the current point, and hopefully have it. So why don't we just address both at the same time, right? Concurrently looking at, okay, let's work with what we got and let's try to build this emotional intelligence in our current adult population, and let's set our children up for success so they don't have these difficulties that we've had as adults in all these lessons that we've learned through all the failures and mistakes that we've made and bridges that we burned inadvertently, right? So that's really what it came down to. And I said, well, I had no idea what the dilemma was going to be, by the way, the really, really tough decision. I had no idea what that was going to be. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to come up with it as I'm writing this book. This is going to have to come across. And what's going to be the easiest way to get the point across? How about having to make a decision about something? And so that's really how it came about. And it literally, I wrote that book in one evening. I sat
Ooh.
down, I wrote the book out because it just inspired, as inspiration hits, then everything just flows out of you,
Close
right?
out. It's easy. It's
And
easy.
then the dilemma came at the end. It just like naturally, organically developed. So that's what happened. And the framework about looking at decision making was just a natural point because sometimes it's difficult for a child or anyone adult to make a decision because they just don't know. They're stuck and they don't
Right.
know what decision to make. And I figured, well, the insights of the Enneagram are an amazing way of looking at all possibilities, all
Mm,
9 different possibilities. And
mhm.
I'd used this decision-making framework early on in my career within organizations with
Mhm.
an R&D group. That's where that first came about
Ah,
from a point of empowering people because
yes.
they wanted these vice presidents were all about, okay, we don't want all these people to just be afraid of taking risks. We want them to go forward. This is an R&D organization. We want them to be innovative and explore and experiment. So they wanted to come up with some sort of way to allow and empower their people to do this. And we landed on using the Enneagram, the questions from the Enneagram to help people to say, well, let me think about this in a way that is systemic and looking at the whole system, really. And if I
Nice.
can answer these 9 questions, and I've done my due diligence and I know that I can proceed, and I know that my boss is going to have my back and the organization is going to have my back. So that's really where that came from. And
That
I've
is
just dropped it into the children's book to help the world become better
yes.
at making better decisions and understanding and empathizing with all 9 of the different perspectives and motivations that exist in
I love
others.
that. I love that. So I believe that there's another book coming on the horizon. What are some things that are coming down the
Maybe,
pipe with you?
yeah.
What are
So
you
this
doing, Karl?
this 4th book was really intended to be the 2nd book because I had the idea for it right after I published the first one, The How and Why,
Okay.
Taking Care of Business with the Enneagram. And it was intended to be something like life lessons, right? How do we almost what the children's book is doing, but
Mhm.
for someone who's just graduating and entering the real world after academia. So whether
Mhm.
they just graduate from high school or college or graduate school, what are the lessons that they were not taught by
Yes.
school or by life yet? And it's really about integrating the 9 lessons of the Enneagram to help people be more resilient through all the different changes that they're going to experience in their life and understanding, and here's the kicker, that they are already fully functional as they are. Because I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
problem or challenge that people have when they're dealing with change.
Yes.
Change makes people feel like they are less than. I
Yes.
wasn't able to handle it with my current being as I am.
Mhm.
Now I'm being asked to be different, to drop who I am and become something else. And that's not what this is not what it's about. It's
Right.
about expanding self and accessing the gifts and strengths that you already have within you
Yeah. Mhm.
to be able to activate these gifts in order to be more resilient and see and approach the world and deal with the world and succeed in the world with gifts that you already have.
And I
Yeah.
think that's something that you don't feel very confident about.
Mm-mm.
You're being kind of kicked out into the world, the real
Yeah.
world, and you're feeling a little
Imposter
wobbly.
syndrome.
Yeah,
Imposter syndrome
major,
for sure. Yeah.
major imposter
All
syndrome.
those you're not enough messages that you've
All of
received either very explicitly or
the
more
tape is
quietly.
running. It's on repeat.
It is. It is.
Yeah, no, I love that. So and what's the
Mhm.
name of the new book?
It's going to be fully functional as you are.
Fully functional as you are. And is this going to expand into other projects?
I don't know yet. Let's see what the universe has in store.
I love it. I love it. So we've been talking a lot about these 9 different lenses, and
Yeah.
you were kind enough to allow me to take the Enneagram. I would
Mhm.
love to hear what your thoughts are on it because I wasn't. I was.
Yeah.
I got the summary and everything, but I was like, I'll
Yeah.
just ask Karl.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to make sure that I have your permission. This is obviously a very public platform, so I want to make sure that I have your permission to share your results because we shouldn't be going around telling other people's type without the person's permission.
You have my full consent and permission.
Thank you. So you came out, and I think you do resonate with the results of the report as and so we do a shortcut and we say, I am this type, right? But the reality is it's part of you. It's part of who you are, but you are not your type. It's just a component of your type. So you lead with type 2, which is the helper or giver, or the considerate helper or giver. And the strengths of the type 2 are really this intuition about outwardly looking to other people's needs and intuitively knowing what they need, even if the other people don't know that they need this. And sometimes the type 2s get into trouble. And I'm by the way, I will also self reveal that I share this type 2 energy and motivation with you. I also lead with type 2. And we can get into trouble by jumping in and providing help and assistance when the other person hasn't necessarily asked for it or wants it from us. So that's something to watch out for. And we do this because we want to help and we want the other people to like us and love us. And we can do that through the help that we can intuitively provide them, knowing that they need this. And of course, the danger is when we are not appreciated for that help that we provided, whether it was asked for or not, we can get a little upset about that.
Yes.
And then we might go to our stretch point or our stress point, which is the type 8. All type 2s have this line to 8, which is the challenger, the boss, the protector, the director. And then we can be a little bit more explicit about our needs and expectations there, what normally we're not. 8s are fantastic with boundaries and 2s are not fantastic with boundaries. So we can learn from that. If we put some boundaries up and maintain those healthy boundaries in advance, we may not ever have to go into the land of 8. And I do want to say that there are healthy and unhealthy versions of every type.
Yes.
When we automatically get stressed out and we go triggered and stressed and go to our stress point or stretch point, we go to the low point of that. So we go to the ugly point of that, not the happy, good point of that.
No.
So that's why we want to go to the high point of that in advance, set up those nice, healthy boundaries and maintain them so we don't ever end up going to the unhealthy part of that, the ugly part of that.
Yeah. So Karl, that means that like I have friends, those are friends who are undercover clients, let's go to dinner and then all of a sudden I'm having an executive coaching moment and it turns into a session and they feel great, they bop off, into the sunset and I'm feeling heavy and a bit used. A little bit resentful and salty about it, but I keep on making these dinner dates with these friends or these friends and not creating healthy boundaries. What would be something that I could say to them that could create that boundary? What would be, I don't want to not go out to dinner with them.
Right, of course. So go back to explicit expectations, right? So let's create these boundaries through some explicit expectations. So my expectation is we are not talking business. We are not talking shop. We're out in a social setting. Let's and if business comes up, we just say, hey, we're here for a social time. We're here for a good time. If you want to talk about that, here's my Calendly link to make an appointment. And the invoice will follow.
Yes, that part. Yes. Yes.
Now, unless, of course, they're willing to take you to a $1,000 dinner, right? And then they're paying for it. And then the expectation is that they're going to get some coaching at that dinner. Then, hey, then if you're up for that, then again, that's your explicit expectation and boundary setting around that alignment.
I love that. I love that. Thank you.
Now, we also, all 2s have this line to 4, right? And we talked about the line to 4, which is, this is your release or your comfort. So this is where you can learn about your own needs. So the 2s are always focused on other people's needs. And it would be great if we can introspect, we can take some time and think about, okay, what are our needs? How can we take care of ourselves? And this is really important because if you always, if you pay attention to the flight attendants when they're doing their pre-departure, put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're going to pass out and you're not going to be able to help the people.
Yes. Yeah. That is so important. I talk about that all the time. I coach other people. I speak about that, about putting on their oxygen masks first. especially
Yeah.
with change, put it on.
Yeah.
But for myself, it's like I can dish it. I just don't
Yeah.
always eat what I cook, like it's
It's
just
physician heal thyself, right? And the other beautiful thing about going to 4, that line to 4, which is the intense creative or the romantic or the artist,
Mm.
is that you can have some wonderful creative expression that comes out of that, which brings you more joy and brings you more energy, right?
Yes.
And that's I believe that's what you're doing right now through
Yes.
your podcasting, through your talking
Absolutely.
engagements. That's creative work, through
Hmm.
your writing, all that. And I don't know, is there any other artistic
I actually
out?
sing. I sing and act. So yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So
excellent. I
got
also
rehearsal
sing.
tonight.
Oh,
What did you say?
beautiful. I
You
also
sing?
sing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
sing with the Palm Springs Gay Men's Chorus. My partner and I sing in the Palm Springs Gay Men's Chorus. Yeah,
that is so fabulous. Oh, that's great. See, we've got so much in
we
common.
do. We do. And okay, so we talked about the things that naturally come out of each and every type 2.
Hmm.
Now, you also have a way, and the type 2 resides in the heart center structurally.
Hmm.
However, interestingly enough, I'm looking at your results right now. Your top instinct is social, which combined with the type 2 gives you this keyword of ambition. So the social 2 is seen as more ambitious than the other 2s, if you want to look at it that way, and that could be self-preservation or one-on-one. And you may be perceived by other people as a type 3. The type 3 is a go-getter, always on the move, always in action. And this
Yeah.
makes sense because you're expressing your type 2-ness, your helpfulness through action. It's
Yes.
not necessarily always feeling, and empathy and emotion. You're actually taking action to help people all the time.
Yes.
And that's your center of expression that way. Now, interestingly enough, when you do take action, you take it through the lens of type 1, which is doing the right thing. What is the right thing to do in the situation? Let me put it through my frame of values and ethics and morals and morality.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm going to do. And when you access your thinking style, your brain, you're doing it through the lens of type 7, which is the epicure, the adventurer, the visionary, always looking at the positive possibilities and outcomes that could happen. So reframing everything positively and always brainstorming into positive, good things that can happen.
That sounds good.
And there are different ways. Had you been more 6-ish or 5-ish, so the 6 is the loyal skeptic, then you would be, again, the opposite of the type 7 would be looking at the worst case scenario planning.
Hmm.
And then, which we need, by the way, we need all of these. So
Yes.
don't just pay attention to the
A
7
little bit
stuff. There
more.
needs to be some backup planning and contingency planning too, right?
Absolutely.
And the 5 is the objective. So looking at the positives and the negatives and predicting what could possibly happen. So that they have these models of this could happen, let's be prepared for it so that we don't look foolish. That's the 5, which is the observer or analyst. So yeah, and the other possible ways of taking action would be through type lens 8 or 9. So 8 would have been take immediate action, and if that's not the right action, that's okay. We'll change course and we'll take a different action. But the action is immediate. It's not really put through any frame or lens. It's just let's take action, let's delegate, and let's get it done. And the type 9 is let's not take action right away. Let's look at the whole system. Let's look at the whole framework. Let's look at the environment. Let's make sure everyone's included. Let's have a democratic process for input. And then if we have to take action, because action can cause conflict and we don't want to do conflict, we'll take action when we have to take action. So those are different action styles, right? And again, we need all those. We need every single one of them. I recently came up with, and I'm sure other people have thought about this before, but I really think about us as Swiss Army knives.
Yes.
Right? We are Swiss Army knives. We have all these 9 energies or tools or abilities or capabilities within us. Yet we have some favorite tools. And I researched this, by the way. So Victorinox has done some surveys of their users, and everyone favors the blade, the little blade or the big blade, right? In a Swiss Army knife, and the scissors.
Yes.
And the tweezers and the tweezers and the toothpick. And the other stuff isn't used as much. Sometimes the bottle or can opener thing with the
or the nail
driver
file
at the end.
Yeah.
The nail file didn't even come up. So we have we have our favorites. Yet the Swiss Army knife has between 7 and 33 different tools in it. Yet either we don't realize that they're in there, or we don't know what they do, or we haven't had occasion to use them, so we just disregard them. So the Enneagram is pretty much like that too. We have our core motivation. We have our core tool that we're always going to. We're using it. It's helped us in most situations, and it's been helpful. Yet there are these other, in terms of the Enneagram, it's 8 tools that we can also be accessing that can help us be more effective depending on the situation. So we really need to understand all those tools that are in our little Swiss Army knife case and play with them and make sure that we know how to use them, so that when we need to use them and access them and activate them, we will be effective and successful.
That is great. I love that. So, I mean, like, thinking about, and thank you so much for going over those results with everyone. I love thinking about that from a Swiss Army knife, because, like they say, what tools overused can become strengths overused, weaknesses. And so it's important to kind of open it all up and take a look at all of the different tools that we possess. What if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what's one career or leadership lesson that you'd share, knowing all you know about the Enneagram and all the things that you've, your body of work and body of knowledge? What would you share with your younger self? What would you share with little Karl?
It really is. And I think the type 2s are more geared to this, but it took a while for me to really get it. It really is about the people and the relationships and the connections that you make and that you keep and you nurture. This is your support network. This is who knows you, understands you, can help you in the future, knows your value, right? It's so much easier to work with the people that know you and who can refer you and can recommend you to others.
Yes.
That's where they know you can make the difference, and they've seen the work that you can do. So those are the people that are your tribe. And depend on your tribe. Really rely on your tribe and understand that it's cold calling and marketing and going to conferences where people don't know you. It's a much tougher sell, because again, they are more likely to go to their tribe and get a recommendation or referral from their tribe. So I definitely say that if you're going to put your efforts into something, it's really nurture and develop and respect your people and your network. And that's going to expand it even more.
I love that. One of my mentors says, your network is your net worth.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
that is so true. That's great advice to give to your younger self and to all of us that are grown up. That is a great lesson to know, because I think sometimes in this day and age, sometimes things can get a little transactional. And having that network, that just the constant keeping in touch, connecting, communicating, and people who know your value, like you said, can really lift you up when things get a little tough.
And they will.
And they are.
Yes, they are. They are.
Now, like, you just kind of feel like that meme with the little dog sitting in the house that's on fire. I'm fine. I'm fine. They can be really difficult, but having that tribe really makes a difference. It really does.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Karl, this was such a powerful conversation. I really, really appreciate it, because it reminds us that better workplaces don't come from better strategy. It comes from understanding of us, of people.
Exactly.
Understanding yourself more is going to help us understand the workplace better. If our listeners want to learn more about your work, your books, and what you're building, where can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. The only R, Karl Hebenstreit, and Karl's with a K, so RKarl Hebenstreit. I have a website, which is performandfunction.com. So www.performandfunction.com. It's a play on words, form and function, but it's about performing and functioning.
Play on words.
Yeah, as I come to think about it, it's also kind of like a Swiss Army knife theme there, performing and the function, all the different functions that you have too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see a new logo in my mind. With all the different, lenses from the Enneagram.
I just have to get this Victorinox's permission to
Yes.
put little Enneagram types on each of the different tools.
It sounds like a good. I see merchandise. I see
Yeah.
lots of merchandise coming out of this. Thank you so
Exactly.
much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It was a long time coming, and like we said, divine timing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your insights. And to everyone listening, if this episode resonated with you, or if it gave you something to reflect on or apply, make sure you subscribe, share it with someone in your network. That's your net worth. And keep looking into your own career view mirror. And we're going to see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Career View Mirror. If you got value from this episode, please consider leaving a rating and a review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or head on over to Spotify and click 5 stars for our show. We also have a YouTube channel with video versions of our episodes, so subscribe over there for more content. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.